We're going to hear from the Chair of Highways England. Just so you know, Little Mix are sound checking behind us, apparently, and we've asked them to stop now so that Colin can give his speech. So touch wood, it'll be nice and quiet. So please welcome to the stage Colin Matthews.
Thank you very much, Richard. I'm not optimistic about competing with Little Mix, but nonetheless, I am delighted to be here, and three particular reasons why I think it's important. Firstly, the roads matter so much. We get used to it, we take it for granted, but they are so fundamentally important to our lives socially and economically that it's always an important topic. But secondly, right now, government has decided to invest more in the roads than has been the case for a generation. So that makes it a particularly interesting reason. Then the third reason why I'm interested to be speaking today is that Highways England is a relatively small organisation, and we depend on a vast number of people in a vast number of organisations in order to achieve our ambitions. And many of you are in this room here today, so thank you very much for listening to me. Around Jim's team, and definitely around the board, there are three things that we care most passionately about. And if you've heard me say these three things before, I won't apologise, because they are the most important. The first of which is making our roads safer. It's true that against international comparisons, we do relatively well. It's true that thanks to our predecessors, the UK's highway strategic network is significantly safer than it was 10 years ago. But nevertheless, far too many people are hurt on our roads. If you, like I do, were to receive a text message every time there's a death on our road, you would be reminded, as I am, on more days than not, of the scale of human carnage, tragedy that happens. Every single serious injury, every death is a human tragedy, and it happens too often. And it's great that our roads have got safer, but we urgently need them to get safer still. Now, of course, we have our 5-year plan. You would expect us to. We're going after it with energy and diligence. But we have one part of the story, not the whole story. To be really effective, we need to mobilise all of the players, many of you here today, who can make a difference, if that's about training drivers, if that's about designing safer vehicles, if that's about brilliant information systems, if that's about the policing that happens on our roads, or if it's right in our territory, which is making the infrastructure safer. All of us need to gang up and achieve this. And I can tell you, we will discover, as every other industry has discovered before, that as we make our roads safer, they will, lo and behold, provide a much more pleasant service to all of our users. The quality will go up and our costs will come down. So we need to do it because the roads need to be safer, and as we make the roads safer, we will find loads of other benefits sweeping us into a better place where we all want to be. So thank you for listening, and more important, thank you today for everything you do personally as you drive and professionally, whatever your organisation is, to join the gang of people who are determined to make our roads safer. I think there are some new ideas out there, perhaps here in this room. We haven't invented every good way of improving safety. We're open to your very best ideas, and I hope we'll have some great ideas within Highways England too. That really is the highest priority. Secondly, we want to offer a better service to road users. Now, I can give you some good news on that front, which is we have 90 lane miles of new motorways that have been opened, 1,500 miles of resurfaced roads, which is a big proportion of our 4,300 miles in total. But the challenge is, at the same time as we've delivered those projects, government has, great news, decided to invest vastly more. So we're putting more roadworks out. And at the same time as we're improving one bit of the road, we are impeding drivers in other places. So we need to find better ways of doing that work and causing less congestion. Really welcome this report that's just out from Transport Focus. Gives us some data to work on. It has 9 recommendations which make good sense. There are loads of ways we can improve both how we deliver the roadworks and, equally important, I think, how we give users great information. Forward-looking information to tell people what to expect, but also real-time information to give people good advice on what to do in the moment according to the road conditions as they evolve. So we need to make our roads safer, we need to provide better service to road users. Thirdly, we need to take this fantastic opportunity of more investment than we've had for generations and turn that into real physical progress on the roads to deliver that investment program. I tend to think of that in 3 time frames. We have our first 5-year period. We're 1.5 years into it now, so-called RIS1. And you would expect it to be, and I can confirm it is, a very challenging 5-year program. It challenges us on safety, to do the work safely. It challenges us on productivity, to get more for taxpayers' money than ever before. And it challenges us on growth for any organization to increase its output by 3 times in a couple of years is a challenge. So we're not relaxed, we're not complacent. On the other hand, the first 1.5 years have gone pretty well and we are on track. The challenges continue in the remaining 3.5 years. What's true in this area, as every other area I've spoken about though, is we depend on you, the people in this room and outside this room, in our supply chain, our partners, to make it happen, because it is, depends on a very large number of teams to deliver this work. Second time frame, the so-called RIS2, the Roads Investment Strategy 2, which will cover the second 5-year period. And by the way, on the first 5-year plan, one other point. The most significant thing is we still have it. When I was sat 2 years ago with some very senior people from a range of organizations, they told me we wouldn't have it because it wouldn't survive. It wouldn't survive the annual challenge of politics and the annual challenge of budget reviews. And it has. It's been through a strategic spending review. It's been through the annual budgeting process a couple of times, and it has survived the political changes. And that's important to us. I believe it's important to all of our delivery partners to be able to count on projects happening in a controlled way, a planned way over a period of time. And in that controlled and planned way is how we want to attack the second 5-year period. We want to develop coolly and calmly, methodically, the best 5-year plan we can. We then want to have a vigorous debate about it, consultation, challenge from everyone who's interested. And then we want to nail it and decide it well in advance of the start of the next period, because that's how we'll set about delivering it efficiently. We need to resist the temptations to get the cart before the horse, to give the answer before we've figured out really what the question is. And so that's our determination. Of course, RIS1 was put together over quite a short period of time. We've got 3 years to do it right this time. Let's take that opportunity, and that's the way we give good value for taxpayers' money. There's a third time frame I'm interested in, though, and that is a longer time frame, call it a vision if you like, which looks perhaps 25, 35 years out into the future and takes a broad view of what the network needs to look like, what the passenger flows are going to be, vehicle flows are going to be from one port to another port, from one city to another city, and therefore develop from that a long-term sense of direction. And if we do that, we will make our plans for individual 5-year periods with a great deal more confidence, because we'll have that long-term sense of direction. If government decides to go a bit quicker, we'll know we're going in the right direction. If we go a little slower, we know we're going in the right direction. I'm really keen to have that long-term vision. After all, the other utility, the other infrastructure providers, utilities and others, typically have that. It's really not unusual. It's a big step for us to have moved from annual plans to a 5-year plan. It'd be a great step to get as far as having a long-term sense of direction, which we sign up to. And of course, ideally, that would be not just roads, but that would include the intersection of roads and rail and air transportation as well. And obviously, in this point, as in every other point that I've made today, we depend on the collaboration of many, many people outside Highways England. We want to make that work. I know you do too. Thank you very much for being part of it. Thank you for listening to me today. Thank you.